Hi, everyone. Guess what we're going to talk about today? Okay, so you know that in the past 3 months, one of the hot topics out there is clutter. And what's been happening for you with your clutter? Do you have clutter everywhere? Do you have it in your office, in your closet, in your garage, in your head? Where is your clutter? And what is it costing you, and how are you dealing with it? I think what's happening right now is that there's a lot of pressure for people to deal with their clutter. Like, yeah, we all have extra time now because we're working from home or whatever's happening. And so, you can easily feel overwhelmed. You can just try to ignore it and hope it'll all go away on its own. But you know what? You are in the right place right now, because my total image woman of the week this week is Kerri Richardson. And she is awesome. It's Pride Month, so I've chosen Kerri because I love Kerri, but also she's a gay-owned, women-owned business. She's a best-selling author of, here we go. Can you see that? There we go. What the cover is trying to tell you. And she has another book coming out at the end of the year. So you are in the right place. The timing is perfect for this. If clutter is like the bane of your existence right now, we can deal with that. I've known Kerri for, I don't know, 25 years or something, a real long time. Yeah. I met her through her sister, Cheryl. And Kerri and I, with my partner, Marion, hooked up about, I don't know, it's got to be, trying to figure it out, about 16 years ago, I think now.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Because I've been in my house for 14 years, and it was before we were in this house. So, yeah. So we were working on a program that Kerri, I'm pretty sure that you helped us come up with the title of this, Who Taught You How to Dress?
Yeah.
It was totally cool. And Marion and I were going to do a little book thing on it, but it ended up being a program that I had in my business for quite a long time. And we had so much fun with you helping us edit it and brainstorm it. It was so cool. And I've been watching your business just explode over the past couple of years. And so I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
And so welcome today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. I'm kind of a weirdo. I love to talk about clutter, so I'm excited to be here.
Well, I work with a lot of closets, so I work with and I am like Marion, I'm sure thinks I'm a mental case, because I cannot stand any clutter around me. And I think with all the COVID-19 things, for me, it's become even more that way. I see clutter, I have to pick it up like in that moment. Because it just makes me totally crazy.
Yeah.
So it's something over which I feel like I have control. So I think that's what's helping right now. But tell us a little bit about, clutter has become, that's what you're doing right now. And I know your next book is on the topic, just a little different focus. But how do you define clutter? Because it's a big topic.
It's a big topic. And, when people think about clutter, they automatically think about piles of stuff, right? Stacks of books and paperwork. And yes, that's all clutter. I like to help my clients see that anything that gets in the way of living the life of their dreams is clutter. So it comes in all sorts of forms. Yes, physical piles, absolutely, drains our energy and gets in the way. But also, emotional clutter, mental clutter, limiting beliefs, toxic relationships, inner critic messages, that's all clutter as well. And so while on one hand, it feels like, oh, thanks a lot, Kerri. Now I realize I have so much more clutter than I thought I had. It's like, yes, but it can all be cleared.
Yes.
And I love it because you can learn so much about yourself through your blocks and obstacles, whatever your clutter is, whether it's the physical piles or not.
Wow. So what do you do with somebody who has, you just mentioned like a whole bunch of ways you can have clutter. And I'm sure a lot of people are going, if I have that, I have that.
Check.
I think sometimes we can end up with unrealistic expectations. In fact, I remember reading about that in your book here.
Yes.
And what do you do with that? Because I think sometimes that can sort of make us just paralyze us so that we can't go forward. How do you help people begin to approach dealing with clutter in an intentional way?
It's human nature, right, to run from pain and gravitate toward pleasure. And we like to be here and we want to get there really fast. And so we don't want to take all of the in-between steps. We just want to fast track it, right? And so, but what that does is it actually freezes us from ever getting started. So there's this whole idea of like your future self loves the idea of cleaning out that garage because she knows all of the benefits. It's going to feel amazing when it's organized. So she can get on board, your future self. But it's your present self who has to do the heavy lifting, who has to do the actual work to get there. And present self loves immediate gratification. She can't see the value in the end goal. She's like, give me a treat right now. What's in it for me right now? So that's when I help people break things down into realistic expectations of, instead of, as soon as I have a free weekend, I'm going to clear out the garage. It's, you know what, this weekend, I'm going to spend, 90 minutes on the garage and if I feel like I'm in the zone, I'm going to get into the zone. The real kind of key trick I help people with is I love something called the Pomodoro technique. It sounds really fancy. I didn't invent it. It's just a time management technique that I love. And here's all it is. It's super simple. So you pick a task you want to work on. Might be a pile of paperwork, let's say, that you want to clear. You eliminate all distractions, shut down your email, silence your phone, tell people in your house, I'm busy. And you set a timer for 25 minutes. And then you get to work. Now, your resistance and your fear is going to do everything it can to talk you out of it. Suddenly, dishes become really sexy, and laundry is like, oh my God, I just must do it right now. So when your fear comes up and tries to distract you, you just look at the timer and say, nope, I've got 16 more minutes. Nope, I've got 7 more minutes. And stay the course for those 25 minutes. Because really, the success is in the action, not the outcome. It's not about getting to the finish line. It's about just getting the wheels in motion.
How did you know that's how I approach meditation?
See? There you go.
Like, oh my gosh, really, I have to do this. Yes, Ginger, you have to do this. So,
yes.
I can do it for this many minutes. Oh, very funny. Now, we were chatting earlier, and I saw your blog post that came out today called "Do You Keep Too Many Doors Open?"
Mm-hmm.
And this, I know that sometimes people get to that first step and they do those 25 minutes and maybe they do another 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then they end up, as you say here, you've gathered up donations only to have them sit in your hallway or car for days, weeks, or months. Yeah. And oh my goodness, I hear this from people all the time. All the time. So, certainly it's better to have it in bags and things. Yeah. But isn't it still taking up space in your head and stuff?
Oh, yes. Yeah. With clutter, out of sight is not out of mind, unfortunately. And this is where it gets really fascinating, right? If you were so motivated to gather up some donations, but you cannot seem to finish the job and drop them off at the thrift store, let's say, then I would want you to look at what is the benefit I am getting from not completing this job. If you weren't getting some sort of payout, you'd have it done. Mm-hmm. So that's where you can uncover the message in the mess. Like, what is going on with my stuff? Maybe maybe there's some items in those bags that I still have emotional attachment to, and I need to process my emotions around that past relationship or whatever it is. There's more energetic cords tethering you to the stuff. Otherwise, they'd be dropped off. Yeah. Why am I not finishing the job? How am I benefiting from keeping these ends loose?
Yeah. This is what I always figure. People are going to think I'm terrible. It would be really nice to have children. Take that to Goodwill.
Yes, you do it. Totally.
Yeah. But I guess whatever. And we have Carol and Andrea listening to us right now.
Hello.
Any questions as we're going along? We're happy that you're here. And I just had this question that came up around all of that. Okay, it'll come back to me because we have more things to talk about here. What is in your? Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Like, sometimes I know this was true for me. We teach what we need to learn. So. Yeah. Was that true for you? What got you into the whole clutter thing? Because clearly that's really been a biggie for you. I mean, you've been a coach for a long time, but the clutter seems to be your main focus with things. How did you get into it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I have been a life coach for about 15 years now. And when I started out, I wasn't talking to people about clutter at all. But I found that over time, the more of a framework you can give to people to help them understand their blocks and their obstacles more, the easier it is for them to wrap their head around it. So I just started to call it clutter, right? I just started to use that word. Okay, if you have fearful thoughts or doubts, or that's just clutter, we can clear that. So I was just giving it a frame of reference. And then naturally, because I was using that word, people started to come to me and say, I have not been able to clean out my closet for X, Y, and Z years. So that's always, physical clutter is a great doorway to much deeper conversations. So yes, people come to me because I'm not an organizer, right? I'm a life coach. So I want to help you figure out what is the struggle behind your stubborn clutter. Again, it's like, if it was simple clutter, then it would already be gone, and you probably have gotten rid of some simple clutter. As soon as it starts to give you any trouble, there's more to learn from it. And that's the conversation I have with people. It's like, let's see, like in my first book, I wrote about how different areas of your life where you accumulate clutter has some things to say about your life, as well as the type of clutter you tend to accumulate has a lot to say about your life. So it's looking at, where does my clutter tend to gather, if we're talking physical clutter here, and what types of clutter. Like paperwork is always a big one for everybody, right? Everyone's got paperwork clutter, it just depends on how much. Now, paperwork clutter is an example of something that takes our power very quickly, because what tends to be in those stacks are things that really kind of represent adulting, right? Their taxes, their bills, their insurance policies, their divorce papers, their kids' artwork, and now your kids are grown. So there's heavy emotional stuff in paperwork piles. And so people avoid paperwork a lot because it is so loaded, but they write it off to being lazy or disorganized, or I just need a better filing system. And I'm like, no, you need to work on your money beliefs, or you need to work on, letting go of emotional clutter. And then suddenly the paperwork is easy to let go of.
It's very interesting because Andrea just said, I'm always afraid I'll need something, especially paper.
Yep.
Future. I bought a scanner, but then I don't use it, and it clutters up my hard drive. So
yeah. So this is a very common condition I call "I might need this someday" syndrome. So, what's really interesting, because people hold on to stuff very often just in case, right? So to me as a coach, if you hang on to a lot of things just in case, I want you to be looking at your level of self-confidence and your level of self-worth. Can you trust yourself to handle a situation that arises when you could have used that piece of paper, but you got rid of it 2 years ago? Play that fear out, Andrea, and ask yourself, if I got rid of these papers and a situation came and I needed them, what would I do? How would I handle it? You'll find that chances are you probably wouldn't have even looked at that paper. You probably would have maybe jumped online and gotten some new updated information. So all of the papers that you're keeping, or whatever it is, ask yourself, what's the real reason behind keeping it? What do you believe you'd be letting go of in addition to the papers if you let that stuff go? Because I guarantee you think you need it, but you don't.
Yeah, I think that's true with a lot of things. I have a little pile right over here on the floor. It's a very neat pile. I have
yes.
a pile right there that I look at every once in a while and go, and I look through it, and then I go, I might need this someday. Thankfully, it's just that one pile. That's it. 2 inches, 3 inches high.
Yeah.
I deal with this with my clients in clothing all the time.
Yes.
Why I might need this. And one of the things that I do in working with them is say, let's put it on. Because sometimes they find it doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah.
Or look, there's a moth hole in it. I didn't even know. I just keep looking at it going, oh, I can't get rid of this because I might need it someday. Or you know what? It's really not your color. So when people understand either why they probably will never need it, or, if they find that, oh, I will need this, because I think that's the other end of what you're saying, that you might need it, then it needs to find a home. Doesn't it need to find a home somewhere?
Yes, because our space is finite, right? Yeah. So we often feel like we need more space. We don't need more space, we need less stuff. So our space is finite, our mental capacity is finite, our energy level is finite. So if you really do need to keep something, you need to look and say, okay, do I have a home for this? Because if you don't, then that's another thing to consider of, okay, how how worthy is this item of being in my life? Because our life, our space is sacred. Physical space, emotional space, and energetic space. I want you to think about what is worthy of being a part of your life, because there isn't, you can't have it all. I'm sorry, you can't. So you've got to pick and choose.
Yeah, exactly. And you can speak to this perfectly and from personal experience because you live in a tiny house.
I live in 240 square feet.
That's the size of my office, I think.
Yes, probably.
Wow.
Yep.
So you had to make a lot of important decisions when you moved.
Yeah, I mean, it's, having a capsule wardrobe um, makes decision fatigue go away. It's like I'm either wearing this, that, or this.
Yes.
Have just a handful of pieces that you love, and then you just interchange them. Yeah, everything has its place. I don't ever have to worry about, now, where are the scissors? They're always right there.
Yes.
So it frees up a lot of energy, because it's just, everything has its place. Now, I mean, I consider myself a minimalist, but not like, people hear that word and they think I live just with like white walls and white everything. No, minimalism to me is living with what it is you need. Now, that's not to say I don't have some extra things. Of course I do, but I don't need. I don't find the joy anymore in things. I look for joy in experiences more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I noticed Rose says, I find removing clutter somewhat depressing. Is that a common response?
That is, Rose. It's interesting. Oftentimes people can feel really held and safe by their clutter. And so sometimes it can just feel like a nice little cocoon. And so as you let go of clutter in whatever form, it can start to feel really kind of vulnerable and exposing. So yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that it feels somewhat depressing. I would love for you to journal a little bit more about that. Like, just kind of almost ask that sadness, like, what is it that you want me to know? What is it that you get from this stuff that we're letting go of? But no, it's really common for people who feel held by their stuff to feel some sadness, to grieve the loss when they let go of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Andrea says, oh, I love this one. I also keep guarantees and manuals. And it's so funny because I have a folder in my file cabinet with manuals and guarantees. And what I've learned is that about every 4 or 5 years, I have to go through it. The last time I did, I got rid of 2/3 of it because I no longer even owned those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And manuals for. So,
and that's a great thing to do.
Although these days I think you can find almost all that stuff online too.
You can, but honestly, I have manuals for the things that I own. I have them in a Tyvek envelope, but I do go through them regularly, and it's like, I don't own this item anymore. But you're right. What's so interesting is, I would say 8 times out of 10, if I'm looking for information on something I own, I do go online. So yes, you can find user manuals online.
And before you get rid of them, you could go online and say, can I find this online?
Exactly.
Then you could get rid of it. Obviously you need guarantees. Guarantees you have to keep, and that should just be, I think.
Right. Yeah.
You might not be able to find those online. But,
probably not. Yeah.
And then Andrea says, to tell you the truth, I'm finding most manuals are online. There we go. She's saying it. I said, I'm guessing I'm a product of the early 50s. Yes. Oh, and she lives in a tiny house too.
Oh, go Andrea.
That's so cool. I love it. So she's had firsthand experience in having to declutter in order
to
way
down.
Oh, that's so cool, Andrea. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you have many, many ways in which, your books are one way in which you help people.
Mm-hmm.
Would you share, and I will also put all of this in the comments afterwards, would you share your website, which is
pretty
easy?
It's pretty easy.
You have a couple of courses that are about to start, like any second, I think.
Yes.
So you share those with us so people know
sure.
there's help out there.
Yes, my website is kerririchardson.com, so it's just my name. Nice and easy. And on that homepage, if you scroll down, you'll see information. I have 2 courses starting next week. Kind of a beginner one and an advanced one. And so my beginner course is called Radical Decluttering. And what's radical about it is that I am helping you uncover the message in the mess. I'm helping you to see that your clutter is more than just stuff, and that it really has something to tell you. Once we start to learn what that message is, you can get rid of it much more easily. And then the advanced course is called Clutter to Clarity. And that's where we do the deep clean. That's when we're cleaning up limiting beliefs, boundaries, procrastination, unrealistic expectations, fears and doubts. We're cleaning up the stuff that causes the physical clutter. So they're both online, live video courses with a private Facebook community. The Clutter to Clarity one, because that's a pretty intensive one, is limited to just 15 people. Radical decluttering is wide open.
Oh, and what I really discovered is because I created when COVID-19 happened and all my in-person private clients had to cancel and eventually reschedule, I created an online class that's live. And I think that energy that goes along with a live online class is really powerful. Really, and answer questions right there. I know you can do that in a Facebook group, and you have both, which is fabulous.
Yep.
And there's something about having that connection live class that I think is really powerful. So people can find that right on the homepage of your website.
Right on KerriRichardson.com. Scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see links to both of those.
And I know you have a book coming out in December.
In December, yep. It's similar to the course. It's called Clutter to Clarity. Clean up your mindset, clear out your clutter. And so again, it's the deep clean. We dig in deep into relationship clutter, boundaries, beliefs, that kind of deeper stuff. What I call are the core causes of clutter. Because whatever stubborn clutter you struggle to let go of in your life has some core causes underneath. The 3 common core causes of clutter, say that 10 times fast, are limiting beliefs, a lack of boundaries, and unrealistic expectations. Any type of clutter you struggle to clear, I guarantee you, at least one of those 3 is at the root of it.
And you'll help people to figure out which one is applicable.
Exactly. Yep.
And do people have to go through the first one in order to take the second one, or can they just dive right full steam into the?
They can dive right in. Yeah, if they feel like they've been kind of working on their clutter and they're like, there's something going on here. I don't know what it is. I want to dig in deeper. They can go right into Clutter to Clarity.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Kerri, it's been so much fun.
I know.
Talking with you, and I'm so excited about all the things that you have to offer. And
thank you.
And you can hear by the people, and there'll be many more who will watch the replay, but you can see that this is a powerful issue that people that can plague many of us in some area or another for a long time, and it just weighs on us. So it's wonderful that you're here to help people uncover what the underlying issues are and get some clarity around all of it. So.
And just remove the shame from it. There's no, what I say to my clients, this is a no shame game. There's no judgment here. Everyone has clutter. There's not a person on this planet who doesn't, I promise you, in some form. So that's what I help people do, is create a safe space to get rid of the shame so we can get to the task at hand.
And I bet you make it kind of fun.
It is fun. I do. We have a good time. We get lots of laughs. It actually can be really fun. I run clutter clearing games. There's all sorts of fun stuff that I do. Make it fun.
Yay. Thank you, Andrea. Cool. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Carol.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kerri.
My pleasure.
You were here, and the replay will be up for people to watch whenever they want to. And I hope everybody stays safe and healthy and has a wonderful weekend. And you too, Kerri.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.